Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall. Today is Tuesday, January the 9th of 2018. And in this video we're going to look at something kind of obscure. It's something that I first discovered, I believe, back in 2005. There are versions of very old Windows where you could just run it off of a floppy disk. Windows 1 and 2, I believe, were capable of doing that, but newer versions from 3.0 upwards, you really can't do that. However, someone online, on some website, I forget the name of it, developed a disk image where you can actually run a miniature version of Windows 3.1 from a floppy disk. And I first discovered this back in, I think, 2005, I want to say. I was wanting to try out Windows 3.1 because at the time I'd never used it since like 1995, 1996 actually, but I didn't have a copy of Windows 3.1 to install on anything. I think I just discovered Virtual PC, but again I didn't have a version of Windows 3.1 to install. So I was pretty much out of luck there, and at the time I didn't know about abandonware sites like WinWorld PC and whatnot. But I happened upon this website that had a bootable version of Windows 3.1 on a floppy disk, and for a few weeks there, this was my only access to Windows 3.1 was from this floppy disk. And I recently rediscovered this disk image not too long ago, and I figured I'd do a quick little video about it. I wrote it to a floppy disk right here, sticking out of this corner Packard Bell, and we're going to boot up from it. So, get the tripod ready. It'll work. Alright, let's go ahead and fire it up. Disk in the drive, of course. It's doing its thing. Right, starting MS-DOS 7.1, the compression driver cannot be set up correctly. That sometimes happens, but no big deal. It's loading a CD-ROM driver. Yeah, MS-DOS 7.1, this is like a standalone MS-DOS 7.1 that they took out of the version that came with Windows 95. I've used it before, and it's not something I would recommend using. If you want a classic version of MS-DOS, stick with something like DOS 6.22. It's a lot more reliable. Anyway, it's loaded up to a prompt here. It says, Microsoft Windows 3.11 bootable, type Win to launch Windows 3.11. 12 megs of RAM is required. We've got 48, so we're good there. Will fail to boot if more than 256 megs of RAM. Again, we're good there. And hard disk with NTFS file system cannot be accessed in Windows. So we'll go ahead and do what it says and type in Win. Alright, it's extracting Windows 3.11 to a RAM drive. Now restoring, okay, we missed that there, but alright, this is a very, very tiny version of Windows 3.11, booted from a floppy disk. And we're here at the Program Manager. We've just got one little group here in the Program Manager called Windows 3.11 bootable. Again, there's only a few things on here because it has to fit on a floppy disk. And this is loaded into a RAM drive, which makes it a little bit faster once it's all loaded in there. So let's see what all we got on here. Go to Help, go to About Program Manager, and it says version 3.11 bootable. And we got our file manager here. And we're able to see what's on the actual C drive on this computer, which is a CF card. Got a control panel. We can change the color settings. Got your fonts here. You only get a few fonts. I don't think we have any true types here. Port settings, mouse settings, desktop settings. You only get one screensaver, and that's the Starfield simulation, and only one wallpaper, which is, I guess, nothing. And here, keyboard settings, printers. Apparently you can print from this. Okay, you can't access the international panel there. Date and time, it's showing the correct date and time there. One thing interesting about this is it looks like it's using Windows 95 style icons here, which is kind of interesting. Some kind of registry editor, DOS prompt, which is DOS 7.1. Get out of that. The PIF editor. Never been able to figure out what that program does exactly, but it's part of Windows 3.1. Got a program here that's supposed to give you information on your hardware, but as you can see, it really doesn't work. This CPU is definitely not 0 megahertz. System meter. Kind of a task manager there. The clock. And as you can see, it looks a little bit broken, but I believe that's because this disk doesn't include the proper fonts for this program. Again, no true type on here, I don't believe. Got your calculator, and it's in scientific mode there. So yeah, works just fine. Of course, you got your notepad. Nothing out of the ordinary there. You get paintbrush, which pops up an error message at first, but works just fine. This is the standard paintbrush program from Windows 3.1. Again, notice how some of the icons here are Windows 95-like. You get some games on here, including Minesweeper, same Minesweeper everyone's used to. And Reversey, can you believe it? Which, this game never came with Windows 3.1. It came with Windows 3.0, but not 3.1. And I've never known how to play this. And even get ski-free, of all things. And it's ski-free just the way it was intended. Solitaire, standard solitaire, which, by the way, I don't know if I've ever admitted this on YouTube before or not, but I don't know how to play solitaire. I've been using computers for over 22 years now. Never learned how to play solitaire. And besides, I'm just not really a card game person anyway, so... And you get Tetris from the entertainment pack. Works just as it should. Character map. Clipboard viewer. And a screensaver, which is just the flying through space screensaver that everyone should know about. And a button to restart. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a very, very basic install of Windows 3.11 that can fit on a floppy disk. So yeah, it's not really useful for much. I guess it kind of works like an old style Linux Live CD, where you know how nowadays if your Windows install dies, you can boot from a Linux CD and get to your files to back them up. Well, I guess this can kind of work the same way if your copy of Windows 3.1 or 95 on your hard drive goes bad. You can boot from a floppy like this and back up some of your important data. So I can see where that could be useful. But other than that, there's really not much you can do here. If you want Windows 3.1, just install it to your hard drive the old-fashioned way. But this is how, for a couple of weeks back in 2005, this is how I used Windows 3.1 from this floppy disk. Because I had no other way of using it at the time. And I believe I didn't even use it on a physical computer. I would just boot from the floppy disk image on virtual PC. So we'll go ahead and exit out of here, saving system settings, press any key when ready. Alright, to run Windows again, type Win, or remove disk from floppy drive and type restart to restart your computer. Actually, before we go, let's do a directory listing on this disk, see what's on there. And not a whole lot. Let's see what's in the CFG directory. And just some of the Windows stuff there. So yeah, highly recommend trying this if you're bored. I'll try and put a link in the description to the website where you can download a copy of this and try it for your own self. So yeah, kind of a cool little toy that I wanted to share with you guys. So until next time, this is Billy Core signing off.